Welcome back to the Grenadier podcast. Today, I speak with Michaela from TradeMe Property. You obviously love this business. Tell me what you love the most about it. Today, an absolute exclusive. Welcome back to the Grenadier podcast, Real Estate Uncovered. Michaela, could you introduce us to you?
I'm Michaela Malloch. I'm based here in Christchurch and I'm with TradeMe Property. I've been with TradeMe coming up 5 years now, Lisa. So I'm an account manager and look after our major clients in the Christchurch and Greater South Island area.
Fantastic. Tell us about the patterns in New Zealand, the buyer behaviour, what's happening?
Oh, the patterns. Everyone wants to know, right? I think probably the thing that would surprise you the most is that the patterns are pretty stable.
Right.
You know, there's always a constant amount of buyers in the market. Yep. And TradeMe is quite lucky. We have a lot of historical data and we have a lot of data from buyers around the world, actually, Lisa, not just New Zealand. And that's probably the thing that I see the most is that our buyer audience is really predictable. So they're going to react to things that are happening in the world in the way that we would expect them to. So the likes of after COVID and maybe after the US elections, we see this increased activity when people are a bit unsettled.
Yes.
So quite predictable. The thing that interests me is what we're seeing in the last couple of years that we haven't seen is the amount of people who want to buy because they're moving. They want to relocate. And that's, probably nearly 30% of buyers are saying they want to move. So that's been a bit of a change from buyers.
Yeah. So when you say move, you mean from city to city?
Absolutely.
Versus just within the city?
People moving down from Auckland to Christchurch, people moving out of the city into regional areas. We're seeing a lot more of that. And I think it's that work from home phenomenon that's fueling that.
Yeah, everyone's figured out after COVID that you don't have to be in the office, right?
Well, technology's caught up, right?
Yeah, that's right. Are there any specific regions or cities in New Zealand that you think are, doing really well?
Well, Christchurch has got to be one of those, right? Christchurch definitely does.
Yeah.
And I think, we have seen unprecedented growth and we knew that we were an undervalued city, but we didn't probably expect the growth at the speed that it occurred.
Yes.
When we measure growth at TradeMe, we look at things like how many new listings are coming to market and how long are those properties staying on TradeMe.
Yes.
We monitor the expected sale values and how much demand there is for properties. And if I think back over the past year, if we look at the busy spring markets, we saw some little spikes there, top of the South Island, yes. Nelson, Tasman, Marlborough, Otago. But if you're interested in that sort of more substantial, consistent growth, we're actually looking into regional areas like the West Coast, Southland, Gisborne. They've seen consistent increased activity over many months through 2024.
In Christchurch, what suburbs are currently the most searched on TradeMe?
Yeah, the most searched. Hallswell and Rolleston.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And that has been actually for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, right? Because there's a lot of stock in those areas. There's a lot of
Yeah.
affordable new builds and land. So when there's a lot more listings, there's a lot more people tracking and monitoring those areas.
Are there any up-and-coming areas that Christchurch buyers should look out for?
Oh, well, I think so. I mean, maybe this is a bit of a personal take on it, but if we think about what's happening in our city over the next couple of years, we've got those big anchor projects coming into completion. We've got our stadium. We've got that central sport and rec centre.
Yep, the metro facility.
Yeah, you got the Court Theatre. So all of this, I think what that's going to do is create a bit of a demand, and particularly from our ageing population, right? Create a bit of a demand where people can have this sort of lock and leave lifestyle.
Yep.
And maybe generate a bit of income, good Airbnb opportunity.
Yes.
I think the inner city is going to be a pretty cool place to base yourself, and the fringe of the city.
Right, interesting. And there is good stock in there as well, isn't there?
Absolutely, high supply. Yeah.
Are there any features or property types that you notice a lot of searches are coming in on?
Yeah, well, I think...
like eco homes or that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. People expect that to be the trend. And like I said earlier, our buyer audience is actually quite predictable and they react to what's happening. So if we put this into context, say after COVID, we saw a bit of a spike in increased demand for bigger homes where people could have a bit more space for the family and maybe work from home. And then when we saw interest rates go up, affordability became a bit of an issue. People reversed that and started looking for smaller homes. And what we're seeing, probably the biggest thing people are looking for at the moment, or their behaviour around buying, is they're actually making big compromises to get on the property ladder. So they will forego bigger square metre homes, land, in order to get on the property ladder. And what that then means is that they're looking for that clever space maximising designs. So that's probably something to watch.
Where does TradeMe think property's headed in 2025?
Oh.
If you had your crystal ball.
Well, exactly. You almost need to put a disclaimer on this, right? We do expect that 2025 is going to follow those similar seasonal patterns. So what that typically looks like is... around the third week in January, sort of starting around the 20th of January, we'll see listing numbers start to increase. That will start peaking mid-February. Things will subdue a little bit over the autumn and winter months and then pick up again in spring.
Right.
We monitor that property price index, and although economists are kind of saying, hey, we expect to see 5 to 7% increase this year, we're not seeing that come through yet. But there's a lot of optimism. So we survey buyers regularly and vendors, people preparing to sell. And what our summer mindset survey data has showed us is that people are feeling a bit more optimistic that now's a good time to buy. We asked people, are you looking to buy in the next 12 months? And we've got about 10% more people saying, yes, we intend to. We asked them, are you going to sell? And about 10% more people are saying yes in the next 12 months. But we may have a bit of a hold until we see that activity start to pick up and until we get through those economic challenges, I think, and a bit more certainty in the job market. The ease, the cost of living eases off a bit on households. People might just hunker down for a little bit longer. I think the next month is going to be quite telling what activity we see in that listing and how quickly these properties are snapped up.
Yeah, interesting. And I think, there really is no better time to buy than now, especially for that first home buyer market. I feel like there's a lot more choice for them and the hope of those lower interest rates and things. You
definitely want to get them before prices start going up.
That's right.
Now
if we are
is the
going to
time.
see some rises, then now's the time.
So what compromises can you make, right? Is it going for that smaller home? Get on the property ladder.
Correct. Secure something.
That's right.
Give up the 3-bedroom dream and get a 2-bedder or whatever it might be. But the sooner you're on, the sooner you're,
Completely agree.
Yeah. Tell me, what is the most interesting or unusual, quirky type listings you've seen on TradeMe?
We've seen it all. This might surprise you, but there's a lot of castles in New Zealand, and I'm talking like Game of Thrones.
Wow!
And it's a weird phenomenon. There's a lot of them out there, and they come up for sale. But there's other things that probably grab me individually. One recently was this incredible Otago property that was built on this schist stone like cliff face. This big bit of rock, and the house is just nestled on the top. That sort of dramatic landscape is spectacular. At the moment, my favourite is a golden retriever homestay in the Kapiti Coast.
Aww.
You had me at golden retriever, right? So it's sold. That's my home. So I think there's some really interesting stuff out there. Explore a little bit further. Put in keywords that really appeal to you and just see what pops up. You might be surprised.
How amazing. Who knew there were so many castles?
I know. Strange.
Are there any quirky trends or unique keywords that people are putting in that have caught your attention?
We're probably a bit more predictable than what we like to think in New Zealand. The number one keyword nationally is pool. Everyone loves a backyard pool.
Right.
And then it's work from home and then it's garage, right? We love our cars. But what's interesting in Christchurch is it's still as is, where is, and has been for many years. So a lot of people may be looking to make $1 or have that little entrepreneurial streak in them, and really monitor those sort of properties closely.
That's amazing. 12, 13 years on that we're still doing as is, where is.
Still opportunity out there.
One trend in the property world has been the development of online listing portals, such as TradeMe. So what changes have TradeMe made, and why should vendors use TradeMe?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so 2 questions there. I think it's quite incredible how fast technology evolves and how quickly consumers adapt to it.
Yes.
That's amazing. TradeMe has to keep up.
Yeah.
We put a huge amount of resource into research and development. It has to be that way. It comes with a very expensive price tag, but we have to do it. Probably the things at the moment that are making a splash is our new property app. There's some really cool functionality in there. So things like being able to track a home. You know, at TradeMe you can watch list a property.
Yes.
Well, you can now track that home whether it's on the market or not. So if it comes on the market, you'll get an alert.
Cool.
So you can just see what's happening with the value of that home over time. So things like that are what consumers are really interested in.
Like stalking a property.
It's a bit like stalking a property, right? I hadn't thought about it like that. So that kind of functionality is really cool.
Yeah.
Why should people be on TradeMe? Well, you know, we are New Zealand's largest property audience. We have a huge audience that's very stable, very predictable. You need to be on TradeMe if you're going to the market. We know also that we're driving 5 times more open home attendees than other portals. So, you know, if you're going to take your property to market, you do need to be where the bulk of that audience is.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we hear a lot about your platinum packages. Tell us about those and why we should use them.
Yeah, well, look, just like any advertising medium, we have a range of products you can choose from, right?
Yes.
So Platinum's the top tier product, and that's designed to get maximum audience engagement.
Yes.
The reason that's important to vendors is because if you can create a lot of competitive friction in the early stage of your campaign, you're going to end up with more bidders in your auction room, multi-offers, and potentially a higher price for your property.
Yes.
So you're actually getting a better return on your marketing investment.
Yes.
So do consider where you weight your spend. You want to weight your spend where the largest audience is, and then consider the return on investment that you want.
Yes. And I think with Platinum, it also means that potentially if clients are looking in certain areas, they're actually going to get your property's going to go out to a wider demographic, right?
Absolutely.
And capture people that maybe weren't looking in that area.
And this is where technology comes in, Lisa. You know, we think about an advertising medium on a property portal like TradeMe as being what you see there. It's not the case with technology today. You know, we're out there targeting buyers across social media, across Google. We're sending emails to databases, and all of this is built into these packages.
Yes.
So we're looking to widen the reach, and this is what I mean about attracting that maximum engagement possible. There's a lot of touch points built into the package.
And I think that's so true. I mean, we only get one opportunity to do it right and to do it well for owners, and making sure that we've utilised every possible avenue to find the buyer for their home is critical, isn't it?
Absolutely. We see the success stories every day.
Michaela, thank you so much for joining us on the Grenadier podcast.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Grenadier podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Please give us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it.